A very good evening and welcome to Lugogo Indoor Stadium, where we are having the Nssf KVC International Championship. It's the finals and we have Nkumba taking on Ndeje today. It's a repeat of what happened last year when Ndeje faced Nkumba, and now we wait to see if they'll be able to get their revenge. They've had some good experience playing on the continent. Several players have been with the national team, so we wait and see. My name is Emanzi and I'm joined by Rafi to take you through this game, giving you the commentary and everything that you need to know about volleyball and the KVC International Tournament. Good evening, Bachu.
Good evening.
How have you found the tournament so far and what are you looking forward to in this final?
Tournament has been very interesting. Most teams have prepared themselves very well. Had very competitive matches, and I think the two teams that have made it to the final, this is a repeat of last year's finals where we saw Ndeje beating Nkumba 3-1. So we are yet to see what is going to happen next.
Yeah, it's Ndeje taking on Nkumba again, and we wait to see what happens. Nkumba has dominated local volleyball in the last 2 years, and you think that maybe they are slight favorites going into this one. But they cannot forget that they lost to Ndeje just last year at this very stage. And Ndeje themselves will know that they beat Nkumba last time. So there is something that they've got to look at. But we can talk about before the final starts, before we get to have the balls served. You can tell us about the tournament earlier. Your own team, KCCA, and how you lost to Nkumba and your expectations really in the upcoming season.
The season has not been very good for us. We had a problem with our main players, the center players. Most of our players have been under injuries and they are recovering, and we didn't have enough time to prepare them for the tournament because they were under recovery. And I think we have really done the best we could do with the players we had, and we are doing well in the league as well. We've beaten some of those teams. We've had a head-on with Ndeje in the league. We went for 5 sets. We had a head-on again this time around in this tournament, and I believe we are doing good. Just time will tell.
Yeah, going back to the tournament here, what are your expectations when you look at Nkumba and how strong they've been in the past tournaments? Ndeje, the fact that they're the defending champions, they have to be respected. What kind of game do you expect from the two sides?
When it comes to the environment, I think Nkumba is used to playing indoors more than Ndeje. I think they will have an advantage over Ndeje. And Nkumba has been doing well in the league. It's #1 in the league, and Ndeje is #4. I think Nkumba has got big chances of winning. When we look at the players in Nkumba, most of the players play for the national team. Just a few players from Ndeje are playing on the national team. So they've got a great experience and great exposure for their players, and I think they will do well.
Where do you see this game being won? When you look at Ndeje, they have a few seasoned campaigners. The Christina Lupos have been around. Joan Tushemereirwe, and then the addition of Margaret Namialo and Sharon Amito, who the two play in Rwanda, but they've come in to try and help Ndeje. How much does this improve the side?
They will play, but the only challenge I've seen since day one is that the coordination between the players they brought in, the new players, they have been with them for some time, but because of them playing in Rwanda and coming back to play, there's some lack of coordination. But I think if they get things right, they would play better.
Yeah, it's the 19th edition of the KVC International Tournament, and we are the finals. In the men's final, we shall not see any Ugandan team featuring because KVC and Sky both lost in the semi-finals. And we shall have teams from Burundi and Kenya battling it out for the $2,000 in the men's final. But before that, we start with Nkumba taking on Ndeje University in the ladies category, and it promises to be a big encounter. When you look at Nkumba, there are so many players that are coming up, but they have a few seasoned campaigners too. Astrid Agava has been around for some good time. Eunice Nuwabigaba, Saidat Nunji, all these are very good players that on any other day can help the team win. This is the team that has won the genocide tournament and gone back to Rwanda to defend it, and you have to give them a lot of credit for that. But Ndeje on the other side have also the good players that you can talk about. Maybe we can talk about the coaching. From the time Johnson Kawenyera left Ndeje, you can say there is a little bit of gap in terms of coaching at Ndeje.
Yeah, in terms of when you look at what they were doing before, the level of the game had gone so high. When we look at the game now, they've come a little bit down because of change of command. When you have a new coach, every coach has got his own ways of doing things, and until that time comes when players have adopted to a new system, a new coach, a new understanding, sometimes it takes time and it's very hard. But I think they are coping up very well, and they know some of these coaches. They have been there with them as players before in Ndeje, and I think with the time they will get to understand them and change. On the other side, when we look at Nkumba, it has had this coach for several years. He knows his team very well. He knows his players very well. He has always made good selections of these players. He has been with them a lot, and I think it is good that he understands them and he knows what they are going to do.
Yeah, we can only wait and see who will be able to take this one. But those are the referees. Salim will be the main referee, and we wait to see what happens in this match as Nkumba take on Ndeje in the KVC International Tournament. It's the 19th edition, and you have to give credit to KVC for holding this tournament year in, year out. Every time you talk about a year of volleyball in Uganda, you cannot fail to mention the KVC International. But we wait and see what happens. The lineups are being read from Nkumba, and really the names that we all know that are not new to us. We have the starting liberals Flavia Nandaula, and yeah, you have players that have been around for a while, and we wait to see how far they can go. We talked about the coaching at Ndeje. Ronald Chitosi is the coach for the ladies now, and being assisted by Emma Kato, who also coaches the men. And the two players are based in Rwanda, so you think that maybe they've not had a lot of time with the girls. But time will tell. If they can be able to win the game, then no one cares about where the players are based and where the coaches are coming from. So the lineups are out there, and we wait for the first ball to be served and see how this one goes. For Nkumba, we have Saidat Nunji, Grace Akirol, Astrid Agava, Doreen Akiteng, she was the setter for the national team, Habiba Namara, and we have the starting libero as Flavia Nandaura. And we wait to see how that one goes. On the other side, we have the experienced Winnie Nakabobi as the starting setter. For Ndeje, you have Margaret Namiaro. Didn't play a big part in the first round games in the groups, but now we can see that she's featuring, and we think her experience is going to help the team. And you have Sharon Amito in the middle. Always very hard to negotiate when she's in that middle block. So we wait and see how that one goes.
Even Joan has been doing good on the backcourt. I think if they maintain their backcourt attacks, Nkumba will be sweating too much.
Yeah, so wait, Winnie Naka will take the first ball. And Kumba will take the first point. The attack is as hard as you would expect, but Ndeje trying to hold on. They served and did not let the ball land that easily. And
a lot of defense from both teams are very good in defense. Ndeje's got a good net defense, and Kumba's got a very good backcourt defense. But Kumba is good in offense. You can see even their backcourts are also very good. So we had to see what Astrid Agaba and Joan are going to do on that backcourt.
And that's the most important thing. When you talk about Astrid, a seasoned campaigner like we mentioned, Joan Tushemeriu on the other side has been coming of age and was a big part of the national team that played the Zone 5 here. So we wait and see how that one goes. But Nkumba already leading in this set by 2-0, and Doreen Akiteng is in the service box. We wait to see if Nkumba will be able to score more points in this one, but Ndeje have to arrest this one to ensure the gap does not grow early in the game.
With Doreen Akiteng, this is our second Nssf KVC International Tournament. And I think she's been playing most international tournaments with the national team. She's doing well as a setter. With being second timer in this championship, I think she's more confident with what she's doing, and she's the youngest player on that team.
Yeah, but she could not find the court when she went into the service box. She served straight out. But a good block from Nkumba, and they have the service to themselves again, and they have the advantage. They are leading 3-1 and looking good so far. When you talk about the experience, we have to look at the fact that Nkumba went to the Africa Clubs Championship. The last 2 years, you can say the team has not changed much. The team that traveled to the Africa Clubs Championship, and that gives them a little bit of experience compared to the rest of the teams here.
Yeah, they've moved. They were in the 9th position the other time, and they came back to the 6th position. I think they are doing much better on international level than Ndeje. They have been there before several times. Ndeje has started just going there, and I think experience will be of advantage to Nkumba than Ndeje.
Yeah, and you talk about the experience. Still, Nkumba train in the indoor, so they have a lot of experience playing in the indoor compared to Ndeje, who do not play a lot of volleyball indoor, and the league has not been played here, so most of the action has been outdoor. But Nkumba so far doing well, and they are leading by 6-2 in this one, and we've got to wait and see. If you're Ndeje, you do not want to see this happening. You want to make sure the gap does not grow.
Yeah. With the experience of the coaches from Ndeje, I think they're learning a lot from these games. When you look at a coach from Nkumba, Tony Lacon is a very experienced coach. And I think so many tactics are going to be used against Ndeje. But Ndeje's got a very good offense. I think they fight a lot to get the points. And Nkumba is showing that it's doing it with a lot of ease. That's the difference within the two teams.
Yeah, and so you can clearly see when you talk about Nkumba being the better side today, that they are in the lead, and their best players have not yet performed. We have not seen enough from Saidat. We've not seen much of Astrid. We've not seen much of Habiba Namara. But they are leading this one by 7-3, and you think that it may be a long set for Ndeje if things keep going the way they are going. But what have you seen so far as a coach? What have you seen so far? What have Ndeje got to do to try and change this?
And they have got to improve on their service reception. I think it's challenging them. The services from Nkumba are too hard for them. They need to get more control over that ball. When their service reception works a lot and their middle gets back into play, I think they'll be playing much better than they're playing now.
Yeah, Nkumba still in the lead, leading by 9-3, and it's not looking so good for Ndeje, and we have to wait and see. You can see that Nkumba are attacking and scoring. On the other side, Ndeje cannot say the same. They've not really attacked to score. Every time they've had the chance, and the most unfortunate thing in volleyball is that whatever happens, there's a point being scored. So if the ball goes out, if you hit the net, all those are points that are being scored by the opponent. And Ndeje have got to try and work on that. That's a free ball that is coming to Nkumba's side, and you do not want to do that against a very good team. And they score, and Nkumba will still be serving. And Ndeje need a timeout to try and correct the errors that they have. But we have Nkumba leading by 11 points to 3.
When you look at the strategy they are using, Nkumba, they're trying to serve very hard to make it difficult for Ndeje to receive, so that they can give them more free balls that they can use, and they're being very successful. Look at the two servers who have just been there. Astrid is still serving. Doreen went in, served, and made some points. Astrid has gone into service area. She's still making more points, and the defense is working. Ndeje are failing to really receive, and which is going to be a very big challenge for their setters to put those balls up.
Yeah, and you cannot play volleyball if you're not going to receive. There's no way you're going to score points, and you would have to rely on your opponent's mistakes. And Nkumba are not making any at the moment, so Ndeje have got to try and receive that ball. We have Astrid Agawa in the service box, and Ndeje have to do better this time. Yeah, Sharon Amito receives quite well, but the set does not the ball that Winnie Nakabobi wants. So, for as long as you get her out of her position with that reception, then it becomes hard for her to set. And Astrid is still in the service box, but serves into the net, and that will be a point to Ndeje. It is now 12-4 in favor of Nkumba, and we wait and see what Ndeje can do in this one.
The next server is a good server. Maggie is a very good server. I hope that she can use that service technique to get the best out of it. She's a very good server. Good defense from Ndeje. Net violation from Ndeje, and Nkumba takes the point.
Yeah, netting. The net is very attractive when you're playing there. And we've seen so many teams losing points because of net violation. And now we have Habiba Namala in the service box for Nkumba. Ndeje have got to receive and try and score some points. Well, that's another free ball that comes Nkumba's way. And Astrid attacks and scores. So it is now 14-4 in favor of Nkumba. And they look like they are running away with this one. It may be very hard for them to come back. Shamim comes in. She was the MVP from last year's tournament. You think she has the ability to change this?
I think so, because when you look at that substitution is a good substitution. Look at the new player they have removed now. She's called Bella. She's a new player on that team. She performed very well during the preliminary games, but I think the final may not be her thing to do today. She's not getting everything right. I think she needs some time to sort out herself. I think Shamim, with the experience, she can do better.
Yeah, we wait and see. That's a serve that goes straight on the floor for Nkumba, and Ndeje score some point. They are now on 6 points, and Nkumba have 14. Still a big gap between the two sides, but you can see, I think when you score 1 or 2 points, there is some bit of confidence that you get. and we have Ikaper in the service box for Ndeje. And they get another point. Kumba could not get the ball over the net. Those are 3 straight points.
The ladies' game is built on service and service reception mostly. They have very good services, so it's very difficult for receivers to really control that ball if the server is very good.
And another point. That's 5 unanswered points.
Those are 2 aces from the same player serving.
Yeah, and Nkumba feel like they need a timeout to try and correct whatever is going wrong on their side. And it's a timeout that you think they need because they have conceded 5 points without any answer. And the best way to respond is to call a timeout or to try and break the service. And you also have to give credit to Ikaper, who is in the service box for Ndeje, because she's serving on court and serving well. And Nkumba have struggled to deal with that.
I think what she's trying to do most is to keep the ball away from Nandaula, who's the libero, because she knows she can receive very well. She's trying to look for the other players to receive the ball. That's why she's keeping the ball away from there and serving straight to position 1, which is difficult for most setters to play the ball in the middle.
Grace Akiro breaks that, and Ndeje will have someone else in the service box. But a good job done by Ikaper in that area. Scored about 5 points for them, and that's what you need. If you can have a player going into the service box to give you 5 points in any game, I think it would be very good, and that's what you want to see. Well, that's what we talked about when you look at Winnie Nakabovi. The service has got to be, the reception has got to be perfect for her to deal with that ball. But the Ndeje reception keeps going away from her position, and that has become a big problem for them.
Ndeje have got to watch out Grace Akrol. She's these days she's one of the top scorers for Nkumba. Every time they're in a tight position, they are going to give her the ball and she will keep on scoring. They don't use her all the time, but when they feel like they need that point, they always give her the ball.
Yeah, and she's scoring. That's the most important thing. It doesn't matter how hard or soft it is, but as long as you score the point, that's what matters. But Nkumba, and she does score another point to make it 17. To make it 17-9 in favor of Nkumba, and it's a big deficit, if you ask me. It's a race to 25, and if you're Ndeje, you want to close in on this one. We have Dorina Kiteng in the service box, and she goes over another ball from Ndeje that does not go straight to the setter, and she has to run around looking for it. And Nkumba score another point to make it 18-9, and it is now very tough to come back from such a deficit and you level the score or go on to win the set. Is this a time where as a coach you start planning for the second set?
Yeah, as a coach you should start planning for the second set. It's better that you remove the players, rest them a little bit, prepare them for the next set, because you can't do much for that set. The only thing is you bring in players to try and tire down the other team, but you cannot win that set anymore. So you have to prepare for the next set.
Yeah, Ndeje get the point for a Nkumba player going over the net, and that makes it 10 for Ndeje and 18 for Nkumba, an 8-point deficit. Still a big gap, and we wait to see if Nkumba can maintain and take the first set, and they score another point. They take that point, Ndeje, they've been negotiating their block at the net, and they've got to try and improve it. If they are going to have a chance, I think they've got to defend much better on the net, because when you look at the players they have in the center, if you have Sharon Amito, and then on the other side, and that's the block that we are talking about. On the side of Nkumba, it's working.
It's working out now. They can block as well, but they're making it very hard for Ndeje to receive. I think after the set, the coach has got to work on the reception formation and make some changes so that they can receive, because they have failed to attack. We've not seen any attacks coming in because of reception. Seta is struggling a lot, just chasing after the ball, and we see that on the side of Nkumba, it's very easy. They are getting the balls right to the setter, and the setter is just doing an easy job of setting them up.
Yeah, and that was Saidat Nunji scoring. It's 21-10 in favor of Nkumba, and they just still have a long way to go in this set. I think it's down to the poor start they had from 2-0. Then they scored only 3 points. Nkumba had already scored 7, and it becomes very hard for them to recover. And the coaches from Ndeje called for a timeout to try and see what to get right. But like coach said, the first thing has got to be their reception improving, because we are seeing Winnie running all over the court to try and get the second balls, and it's always going to be tough for her to give you the ball that you want to attack and score any points against a very organized team like Nkumba.
I think Nkumba has got it all in this set. They just got to work so hard to get it right. And at the level of this competition, at this time, you cannot afford to have a bad start. You have a bad start, you are gone. Because the concentration levels of most of the teams at this level are too high. Everyone wants to win. So when they get you on a disadvantage and you expose yourself, they will use that against you. And I think Nkumba is using the service as an advantage against them.
Yeah, and the lighting has called us for a timeout. One of the lights going off, and there is not sufficient light for us to continue with the game. So we wait and see how long this takes. But it's a timeout to the teams, because the lighting is not sufficient for them to go on and play. So we wait and see how that one comes. But as you can see, the fans came in big numbers. Some are players, and those are some of your players as KCCA.
She played her first match today against KVC. She has also been on injury. She incurred an ankle sprain on Monday, so we allowed her to recover. So she wanted to play today. We said, hey, you go try in one set and we see what you can do. And I think she gave it her best, and we managed to get a bronze.
Yeah, for those who are not aware, KCCA won the bronze. They beat KVC 3-1 to take the third place playoff. And you think that it's good enough, but Ndeje will be trying to, I think the coach must be planning for the next set. It's a kind of stoppage that you would want if you're on a very bad streak. If the opponent is scoring many points, I think you want this kind of stop. But Ronald Chitosi and the rest of the team have a lot of work to do if they are going to recover and win this set. So we wait for the lighting to be sufficient, and then we can go on with the set. But as it stands, Nkumba is leading by 21 points to 10 in the first set here. The lighting seems sufficient enough now, and Nkumba will go on. It's the kind of break that Ndeje would have wanted, but one that Nkumba surely wouldn't have entertained. But it's something that is out of their control. And they start with a point for Nkumba. Grace Akirol managing to score off the net and onto the court on the other side, and that's the most important thing. 22-10 in favor of Nkumba, and they need 3 points to close this set. Abiba Namara attacks, and she's able to score off the block, and the ball still goes the side of Nkumba, of Ndeje, and Nkumba now need only 2 points to seal this set and wait for the second.
I think when you look at what's happening there, Ndeje is making so many changes. I think those are about 5 substitutions in a row. I think they need to rest the players now, so to prepare for the next set.
Yeah, and they are resting the senior players that you expect to perform if they are going to do well. Winnie Nakabobi, Sharon Amito, and Shamim herself all coming off to go and cool down and wait for the second set and try to make sure they start much better than they did in the first one. But we still have Nkumba serving, and wait and see, can Ndeje's reception improve with only 2 points left for Nkumba.
Yeah, Nkumba have not made any substitutions. I think they are doing well, and the coach wants to maintain a winning team. He does not want to tamper with the lineup, and at this time he wants to first get his sets, then he can see how he can make changes.
Yeah, the reception has to improve in the next sets maybe. I don't think they will have a chance to come back from this one. And yeah, the poor reception at the end just tells you the story for Ndeje in the first set. Very poor in terms of reception, and that has made it hard for them to operate offensively in any kind of way. So Nkumba take the first set, 25-10, and we'll wait for the second set to see if Ndeje can come back.
Yeah, with these games, it's funny that sometimes you may have a lucky side. You may have started on a bad side, and when there's a change, maybe you are going to a good side. And with the lights, you never know. Maybe one side has got better lights than the other. Can affect that.
Yeah, we can only wait and see. But Nkumba seem to be cruising. They've taken this one, and we wait to see for the start of the second set. Can Ndeje bounce back, or will Nkumba take this one and lead by 2-0?
Let's see what changes come from Ndeje. If they can revise their reception formation and get things right, I think it will work for them. But I don't think Nkumba is going to just give them services to enjoy. They're going to make it more difficult for them. That now they know it's hard for them to receive, and they know it's working. They're going to keep it there. It's a team that plays a very consistent game. It doesn't change what it's doing. If it's working for them, they keep it there, and they'll keep working. That's Coach Bax. He's one of the technical people attached to Nkumba. He's always supporting them. He's a Dutch coach, and he has always also supported the national team, and I think he's helping a lot.
Yeah, of course he was talking to Sadiq Nasiu, the former president of Uganda Volleyball Federation. But we wait for the second set to start and see if Ndeje are able to recover from this one. But I think for them, the team talk should not have a lot of stuff. It's just about reception. They've got to improve that, and they are back in this game. So wait and see what happens in the second set. But at the moment, Nkumba are cruising, and Ndeje seem to be crumbling.
If you can't receive, you can't attack. And if you can't serve well, you can defend. As simple as that. So they need to receive to attack. They need to serve well to defend.
Yeah, it's not the kind of competition we expected, because usually Ndeje are a good side, and last year many people didn't pay a lot of attention to them, but they managed to win their semi-final and then met Nkumba in the final and beat them when no one had actually given them a chance. So wait and see. There are 5 sets to fight for, and they still have a chance. There are still 4 sets to go, but for them, I think, to stand a chance, they've got to start by winning the second one.
When you look at what Nkumba has been doing in the first set, they're getting like 60% of their points from service and 40% of their points from attack.
And the substitutions that were made, we see the players coming back. Sharon Amito in the middle, Shamim, the reigning MVP from last season, even winning Nakabu, we have all returned to the setup for Ndeje at the start of the second set, and we wait to see how this goes.
I think there's a change. I think now Shamim is starting, not like before in the first set. She started from outside and Bella was on, and I see now Shamim starting. I think maybe they are trying to correct what they made wrong in the first set. Oh, Shamim takes the first hit, and that is the score for Ndeje.
Yeah, Ndeje have managed to start this one off. They were struggling at the start of the other set, and now we expect them to, hopefully, it's good omen for them to score the first point.
It's 1-1. Nkumba responds back after that hit from Ndeje.
And they have Grace in the service box as a good server, and Ndeje have got to prepare. And she does not change positions where she's serving.
Remember, Grace served from 20 to 25. She made a couple of points from her service, but I think I'm seeing something different happening from Ndeje. I think Shamim is trying to show that she's ready for them. She did not deserve to start from the bench. I think that's what she's trying to show the coach. And she has gone to the service area.
Good start from Ndeje, and they are leading by 3-1, which is very impressive for them. I think it's the kind of start that you want. When you look at what happened in the previous set, I think this is the kind of set that you would want to have. And they look to be in the mood for the second set, and wait to see. But Nkumba have a very experienced libero in Flavia Nandaura, and her reception goes straight to the setter, who sets up the offensive play, and they have managed to score. It's now 2-3 in favor of Nkumba, and good contest so far. You can say that the first...
Another good server from Ndeje, Saidat. From Nkumba, sorry, Saidat. I think our service has not done anything for Nkumba. They've got it and used it against them.
And I think most of the teams, the tricks that they use is that they are going to make sure that your main attacker is very busy. Once they continue serving them, then that's a big problem. But Nkumba that's another free ball given to Ndeje, and they've got to use it. But they don't, and it's a point for Nkumba. 3-4 in favor of Ndeje, and a more competitive set, I should say.
I think Joan takes that ball out of the court. Astrid is serving. Remember, Astrid made very many points when she was in the service area. She didn't get that right. She has served it in the net. That's an advantage for Ndeje. Let's see who is serving. I think it's Joan going for the service. She's a good server, but she's not so consistent with her service. but she's got a lot of energy behind the serve.
That was a good rally.
Yeah, it's a good rally, but Shamim puts the ball out.
Shamim puts the ball out. It was good net defense from the two sides. No one allowing the ball to cross to their side. And now it is 4-5. Nkumba 4-5 to Ndeje and Habiba Nama in the service box.
Outside hit by Shamim.
And that,
I think the reception is improving for Ndeje. You can see them trying the backcourts as well. I think they're receiving much better than they were doing in the first set.
But the service from Nkumba has also gone down a bit because you don't see the strength in that ball when it's coming, and they've made it a little easier for Ndeje to receive. And Ndeje were always going to improve. It's the only thing they needed to improve from the first set. But at the moment they are leading by 6 points to 5, and Nkumba are chasing.
Miscommunication from Ndeje, and they lose that point, moving out of defensive positions earlier.
And Nkumba have leveled. It's now 6 ups, and I'm sure Coach Tony Lakone will be looking at that and saying we start from here.
It's not going to be very easy for Ndeje to get back into the game. But that's a good block from Shamim. She gets another point. I think she's coming to score. She's coming to make some points for the team.
And that's the most important thing.
Akapel, remember she made 3 aces on service, and they blocked 2. She's lost her service again. You cannot lose your first service on a rotation. It's always bad.
Especially if it goes into the net. Yeah, that's a big loss for them. But it is up, 7 ups, and we have Dorina Kiteng in the service box for Nkumba. And Shamim scores again.
Gets another hit. She's a good attacker. She jumps higher. The setter needs to trust her more because she's now scoring better than the other players. I think she has to get more balls.
Winnie Naka will be the setter in the backcourt, and it's a point for Nkumba. It's point for point now. No one is willing to.
Using the blocks.
Yeah. It's very important how you go into the block. When the ball comes and you can clearly see where to get that from, wherever you can score from. I think that's the most important thing. But we see Ndeje, the reception then becoming bad again. And luckily it's a good
Ndeje. That was a very good block. Very good combination block from Ndeje, and I think they get their point.
They lead by 9 points to 8. If this game goes like this, it could be a long game. We may have to go for all the sets. But we wait and see how that one goes. Shamim is in the service box. She has done well on the net in terms of attack, and now we wait to see how long will she stay there. And Nkumba score. It's point for point. No one is going to let anyone run away with the game.
It's very tight for both teams. No one is letting go. And they don't want to make the same mistakes they made in the first set, allowing them to lead them by several points and then chasing from behind. I don't think they are going to do that in this set. they seem more focused. Takes that down. Good set from Winnie.
Aaron Amito plays for UTB in Rwanda, and very good player, I should say. And you can say they've improved Ndeje. Her and Margaret Namiaro. Of course, what she does for you on the net, and then what Namiaro does from the service box and in attack. But that is Astrid Agawa scoring from Kumba, and it is 10 up. No one is going to run away with this set.
I think you can see that we're having more players moving to Rwanda to play from Rwanda, and that's very good for Uganda to have these players exposed. Rwanda, they've got the resources, they've got the finances, their teams are well sponsored, and they can give our players good exposure on the international continent. And I think that is very good for our players.
Yeah, you can say that while Uganda has a lot of talent, I think managing it has been our biggest challenge. And when you look at the league that we have and the competitions here, you can say that Rwanda and the other countries are slightly more organized compared to us. And that's why they have corporates coming in to give them the money, and it's working for them. But we have Ndeje scoring now, and it is 11 ups. No one has led by 2 points here. You score one, the next team to score is the opponent, and that's how it has been from the start of this set. And you have Joan Tushemerirwe in the service box for Ndeje.
The universities are doing a lot, the university clubs and the universities are doing a lot for volleyball in this country, giving out scholarships to these players. Not only they are promoting their talents, but also giving them education, which is very good for the country. And I think they're doing a lot. One thing is we should get more of them on board for this championship. I think they will do better.
Yeah, because I can imagine if you had the UCU men's team, you think that maybe they would have gone a long way in this championship. But Nkumba are leading by 2 points. It's the first time any of these sides is leading by more than 1 point. And Ndeje have to make sure the gap does not grow. You have Abiba attacking from the backcourt, and that's an easy one. But Astrid misfires, and it's a point to Ndeje. It's now 13-12 in favor of Nkumba. And we wait and see. But like you say, the universities are doing their part. Of course, the fact that they are playing against clubs and the competition may not be the same because of the lack of experience and all that. But these universities have not showed that. Ndeje and Nkumba have gone on to win the league title and have been doing well across. So good stuff so far, but Ndeje refusing to go down, and Nkumba, that's a free ball to Nkumba, and they've got to use it. Grace Akirol, another good block.
Good defense from both teams. That's what the crowd wants to see. That's where they've come to see. That's what they're enjoying.
But
Shamim puts it out. That happens. There's a lot of pressure going on with players at this time. And the game is too tight for both teams. No one wants to make a mistake.
And Nkumba are leading by 2 points, 14-12 in favor of Nkumba. And we have them making substitutions.
Yeah, that's a tactical substitution. She's a very good server. I think they know their service has gone down, so they want to get as many good servers in to make it very difficult for Ndeje to receive. She's a very good server. They have been doing that consistently. We have seen her coming in to serve. She gets it wrong, and I think the libero will come in for her.
Yeah, she doesn't get it right. Usually when you come off the bench specifically to serve, I don't know if it's the pressure or anything, but we have Ndeje also making a change. And Christina Lupo, probably the most experienced player on the court now, comes on and wait and see what she can be able to give to this team.
Trying, I think, to use the same technique to also get in a good server, to give them a couple of good services. Let's see what she can do with her experience.
And Nkumba take that.
Yeah, the ball was set too tight on the net, and you can't do that with Nkumba when you have a crawl in that position. She will just bring you down. She's got a good block.
Yeah, so Nkumba are leading 15-13. They lead by 2 points. And when you see a close encounter like this, who has the better chance? When you look at Ndeje and Nkumba, who has a better chance to get through in such a tight contested set?
I think Nkumba has got a better chance to do so with the experience they have. And when you look at Ndeje, if they get the blocks right, I think they may take the set.
Yeah, but that's another point for Nkumba. And that it makes it 16-14. And that's 2 points for Nkumba. They lead by 2 points. And they have Grace Akiror in the service box coming in to try and give them the serve. So wait and see if she gets it right. And she does. That one goes off, and it's a point for Nkumba. They are trying to run away now.
Yeah, when you compare the two teams, you can see clear that Nkumba attackers have got a higher scoring rate than the Ndeje attackers. And Ndeje is very good in blocks, but they're not using that to their advantage.
And Nkumba now lead by 4. It's 18-14. They are breaking away late in the second set, and as Ndeje you don't want to see that. It becomes very tough if you're playing against a team that just needs one set to win the game. But very often we see teams switching off after leading by 2 sets, and then you have the opponent coming back into the game.
I think that when you look at Nkumba, they are all saying that no, we cannot give this team a chance. Last year we gave them a chance and they took it away from us. Not this time. They're using every ball, every catch, every defense to get the scores in.
And they are back from the timeout. We wait to see the adjustments that have been made by Ndeje. And Nkumba now need just 7 points, and they'll be taking this set. Can Ndeje hold on and stop them? Maybe they can. They start by blocking well and getting that point. So it's now a 3-point deficit. That was a good recovery from Nkumba, and they managed to score to make it 19-15. So they still have a good lead. When you're going into the 20s, I think a 3-point lead is okay. And now they have a 4-point lead with Saidat Nonji in the service box.
I think Ndeje needs to work hard to get a set to get back into this game. If they don't get a set, I don't think it's going to be difficult. It's going to be easy for them to get there.
And there's no way through from the Nkumba block. they've tried to make sure Ndeje does not negotiate in any way. And it's 20-15. Now they are racing. Ndeje need to score 2 points while Nkumba score 1 every other time to make sure they stay in the game.
I know what now Coach Tony is telling the Nkumba girls. Hey, you have a cushion now. You don't need to panic, just finish it off. And that's what's happening. But now Ndeje is under a lot of pressure, and Nkumba seems to be relaxed about it. They get another point. This is what's going to happen now. Every time Ndeje will get a ball to serve, it will be just a side out for Nkumba, because they are now comfortable. They will only need to receive, set, attack, and make the next point, and apply more pressure to Ndeje.
And on the other side, Ndeje cannot afford to serve so hard because they want to make sure the ball stays on court. But that's another point for Nkumba to make it 20-16, and they are now in a comfortable lead. Astrid Agawa in the service box serves into the net, and that is 17-22. So we wait and see, can Nkumba take this set to lead by 2-0, or will Ndeje be able to pull one back and make sure we have a hotly contested third set? It doesn't look likely because Joan Tushemerudi has served in the net to make it 23-17 for Nkumba, a 6-point cushion with only 2 points for Nkumba. They only need 2 to make sure they clinch this one and go into the third set trying to seal it and win the championship.
You may notice that both teams have so far served 4 balls each in the net, and that's not a good sign. That's Ime coming in as a sub to serve. She's a new setter on the team. I think they brought her to see if she can finish it all. She can finish this set. I also saw the same change. I don't know what's happening because the same substitutions being made on Ndeje, the same substitutions being made also on Nkumba. So I don't know what's happening. Who is imitating the other?
Well, from the scoreboard, it looks likely that Ndeje will be trying to match whatever Nkumba do. But at the moment, they are still leading, 23-17. A bit of consultations for the referees because there's a whistle that went, and we don't know what exactly that call was for. But we see Margaret Namiaro in the service box for Ndeje. It's a common point. And Imi will be serving again. She has the good height for a setter. If you look at her, most of our setters are not that tall. And I think Nkumba will be a problem. If you have such... And she does serve off the court to give the point to Ndeje, 18-23. And still, Nkumba will not be panicking. They still have good cushion. And we have Abiba Namara coming back to receive and attack, and we wait and see. Can Margaret Namiaro find that? And Grace scores to make it 24-18.
At this time I told you, whenever they need that most important point, they will look for Grace. It's happening again. So I think the coaches from Ndeje should really know that's what's going to happen. You wait and see. They will get as many balls until the game is done. The set is done.
We have a Nkumba player down, but they've taken the set because there's netting from Ndeje, and it's Doreen Akiteng, the starting setter. Maybe a little bit of concern for Nkumba, but they've taken the second set, and now they lead. That was 25-18, and now they lead by 2-0. And Ndeje have a lot of work to do now. They cannot afford to drop any set. But a little bit of concern for Nkumba with the setter. You hope that injury is not serious and she'll be able to continue.
Let's hope it's not a serious injury, because I see her getting better. Let's see what happens. Let's let the paramedics do their job and we see if she can get back into the game. But I think she has kind of strained her ankle.
They still have Eunice Nwabigaba on the bench as in the setters department. Will they be calling upon her to come and finish off the game? And for Ndeje, what have they got to do? We saw the reception improved in the second set, but just not enough to beat Nkumba. What have they got to do in the third set to make sure Nkumba does not win in straight sets?
Yeah, their reception has improved, but their attacks now are down. They are not attacking to score. You cannot have 4 players minus the setter not scoring on court. Their middle is not working anymore. So you got Amito scoring 2 points, and she's not scored anymore. She's not getting the blocks there. They are passing on her, so there's something wrong with the whole setup. I think they need to maybe make a big adjustment, risk a little bit, and get all the players they have been using in the league to play this game.
Yeah, Nkumba will be looking to finish this off. If they win the next set, then they are the champions for the KVC International Championship, the 2019 edition. But Ndeje will have something to say about that. They will try to ensure they get back into the game. There are 3 sets left. Ndeje cannot afford to drop any of those, and Nkumba just need one of those to win this game and the championship here at the Lugogo MTN Arena. We wait for the third set to start, and Nkumba are still in the driving seat, while Ndeje seem to be crumbling at the moment.
Happening to Doreen Akiteng. I think she's getting back. I think they've worked on the injury. She could be getting back into the game. What I noticed is she had an anklet earlier on that was being removed, and they are putting it back. That means she has been having an injury. It's an overused injury. I hope she can get back. In most cases, such injuries that are overused, if you sprain them a little, you can always get back if they are not serious.
So we wait and see. Will she be starting the third set, or will Tony Lakoni and his technical team have to make a few changes to ensure they win this one? We are waiting for the third set to start and see who will be taking this one.
Moving to set number 3 for Kavcinternational of Nssf International Tournament. The set score is 2 contested Nkumba and 0 for Ndeje.
We are back for the third set, and we see the Ndeje team, the kind of setup that they have. Winnie, Nakabobi, Sharon Amito trying to, and Shamim trying to discuss and see how to go past this Nkumba side. But the first thing that has got to improve, they've got to receive much better to make sure the setter has a good second ball to set up their offensive play. And we have Ikaper in the service box, and she's got to deliver. But she doesn't.
Another change from Ndeje. They have brought in Maureen, and Maureen comes in for Joan. She's an outside hitter. So let's see what she's going to do.
That's a point from Sharon Fondeje. Maureen Mwamula is a very experienced player that needs no introduction in Ugandan volleyball. And you think that she can give them something. Maybe Joan needs a little bit of rest and then she'll come back stronger. But the replacement is not bad at all if you look at Maureen. So wait and see how that goes. But Nkumba already in the driving seat, leading by 2 points to 1 in this one, and they have the same. We have Dorina Kiteng returning. She came back, and it seems she'll be able to continue with her ankle. And we wait and see how does that one go. Maureen spikes, but the ball goes just out, and it's a point for Nkumba, who now lead by 3 points to 1.
Ndeje's got a very good bench. They have so many players on the bench who can come in at any time. But I don't think there's something wrong with them. They're not themselves. This is not how they play. They're totally playing something different. I think the indoor experience must be affecting them because they don't train from the indoor. Whereas Ndeje, Nkumba is always training from ISU, which is an indoor stadium.
It is 2-3 in favor of Ndeje, and Shamim serves. Good reception. And Nkumba somehow score. I think the ball was going off, but the moment the Ndeje player touched it, then it becomes a point for Nkumba. And we have Astrid Agaba going to the service box to see if she can score some points for the team. That's a good counter block from Habiba to score on the other side and make it a 5-2 lead. And something Ndeje have got to make sure they do. Make sure you do not allow Nkumba to break away and have a 5-point lead, a 6-point lead, because that puts you under a lot of pressure when you're going into the service box, and it gives the advantage to the opponent.
I don't think Ndeje is going to come out of what is happening to them. They may have accepted already a 3-0, and Nkumba just wants to get it. They're putting everything to just finish the game off. But when you look at the way the players are responding from Ndeje, it is not promising at all.
And that's why you need some changes sometimes, because if you have a player that has been playing and the team is trailing by 2-0, it's very easy for that player to give up in their heads and they think the game is done. But when you bring the fresh blood, then there is some little bit of confidence that comes back to the team, and that's what we are waiting to see if Ndeje can actually improve in this one. But Nkumba are doing very well. They are leading by 6-3, and rotational foul for Nkumba, and it's a point for Ndeje.
Wrong serve. I think it's a service order fault. Wrong server serving. Yeah. So they lose that point, and and Ndeje takes advantage of that. I see Maureen serving. Let's see what she can do with the service. She's not so consistent with her services. Oh, she gets that in. Akirol attacks. You see what I told you? Every time they will need that break, they will look for Akirol. So I think the coaches need to know that. The Ndeje coaches need to know that she's going to be the one to break them down.
And she's doing that really well so far. And as Ndeje trail by 3, it's 7-4 in favor of Nkumba. And we are seeing Winnie Nakabo is still having to run around looking for the second balls. Not a good sign for Ndeje, but Nkumba will not care. And they scored another point. It's now 8-4. And like we said, you don't want to see a 5-point lead, a 6-point lead. And as we speak, it is a 4-point lead and looks likely to grow even further.
What Nkumba is doing now is to maintain its lead. And they're having the left side of the court, they're attacking from the left side of the court and the right side of the court. They're using Astrid on the right side of the court and using Okrol on the left side of the court. So that is so difficult for most blockers. And the center blocker, for any center blocker, I wouldn't want that to happen to you.
Saidat manages to score in that rally, and she takes the point for Nkumba. Now it is 9-5 in favor of Nkumba, and
that's our first score.
Yeah,
that's our first score in the second set, in the third set. She didn't score any point in the first set, but she has been blocking. Yeah, that's our first attack hit. Good defense. Akirol takes it again. It's another point. It's happening again. It's happening again. She's doing it again to them. Every time they will need that very important point, she's going to get it right.
And there's a substitution. We have Christine Arupo coming back into the frame, and Ikape comes off. On the other side, we have Dorina Kiteng waiting to serve for Nkumba. And they have a 5-point advantage. They lead by 10.
Because they bring in a very experienced middle blocker. As I told you, it is very difficult for a middle blocker when the attacks are coming from the right and left. It's very hard. So they bring a more experienced middle blocker to try and help.
But Grace Akiro scores another point from Nkumba, and she was named the player of the match when they won their semi-final yesterday. And from the look of things, you can say that she's still Nkumba's best player so far. In terms of scoring, she's getting the points. And Ndeje need a timeout. It's 11-5, and it doesn't look like they are going to improve, at least enough to come back and win the game.
I think Grace Akro may stand a chance of winning the MVP of the tournament. Her scoring has been up there, and I think she's still doing the same thing. She's getting more scores, and to become an MVP, you just need to be the top scorer of the team and the top scorer of the tournament, and I think she's doing that.
Yeah, back from the timeout, and Dorina Kiteng will continue serving for Nkumba as Ndeje tried to make sure they stop them from taking the third set. And that's a point for Ndeje as Nkumba attack outside. Saidat, who had just scored her first point, could not find the inside of the court, and it's a point for Ndeje, which makes it 6-11. Still a big gap, and Ndeje have to make sure they improve their defense. But it's another point from Nkumba, and they seem to be running away with this one.
Look at the control, the ball control from Nkumba. They're controlling all the services that are coming from Ndeje. and it's very easy for them to get the balls to the setter and the setter to make the sets. But look at the chase. It has happened again. Every time they serve, Ndeje has got to chase after the ball.
And Habiba has started biting. She was the MVP of the league the other season, and now we have not seen a lot of her in this game. She's not been that active in attack, but they are doing the business in terms of the cover and the reception. Miscommunication between Margaret Namial and the libero, and it's yet another point for Nkumba, and they seem to be taking this one, which is not good news for Ndeje.
It's always very rare for Habiba to find us attacking when the other two, Grace and Astrid, are attacking. She always switches back to doing reception for them, and I think she's doing a great job. She's receiving most of the balls and getting them to the setter. So she does not need to attack because they are aware that she's a very good attacker. So she needs to concentrate on reception and keep the others attacking.
Ndeje with another point, and that is 8-14. Trying to come back. It's a 6-point gap. Still a long way for them to come back. But if you want to see where Ndeje's problems start from, you've got to look at where their second balls are and where the setter has to find them to set them up. But it's another point from Kumba, and we don't want to say it is over, but in the minds of very many people in here, they don't see a contest from Ndeje, and it looks like it's headed for a straight set win for Nkumba.
You just need, I think Ndeje needs a magician now to change everything. I don't think things are happening very well on their side. They will need that magic touch to change everything, and it's not going to happen anywhere.
That's another point scored through the middle for Nkumba and Ndeje.
That's Agnes scoring, Agnes Ochen scoring that point for Nkumba. I think that's also our first point on the attack. Look at this. All the middle attackers for Ndeje, for Nkumba, have just scored 1 point each on attack, but they're doing block. That means the strategy is let's defend more, let's get the balls defended, and let the outside attackers do the attacking. They're not setting more balls in the middle.
That was a carry from Winnie, and it's Nkumba ball. They lead 17-8, and they look like they are going to take this one. They lost to Ndeje last year in the same championship, but now they seem to be recovering and have found a good way of picking their revenge. 17-9, it's a big gap, and it will be very hard, if not impossible, for Ndeje to recover and be able to take the set. So Nkumba, you look at what they have won throughout the year, the fact that they went to the continent and played good volleyball. How far can this team go? When you look at them, how far can they go? Is it about going to the Africa Championship and trying to do well? How far can they go? Because you think that they are miles in terms of players. The other teams actually have the players, but the unit and as a team, you can see that Nkumba is a little bit ahead of the rest of the teams in Uganda.
Yeah, at the continental level, we always disadvantaged as Uganda. When we take our teams at the continental level, we play against teams that have got a lot of exposure, a lot of experience, and when you look at our heights, look at the heights of Nkumba. They're not very tall, but they are good. They're doing good. Look at Ndeje. They are tall, but things are not getting well for them. But when we go for continental championship, height is very important, and it's always a disadvantage to us because those teams are experienced, they are tall, and our players sometimes find it so difficult to pass those blocks.
Yeah, Nkumba needed a timeout because Ndeje had scored 3 unanswered points, and it is now 11-17, but Nkumba still in the driving seat, and they are back from the timeout. Shamim of Ndeje in the service box, and we wait to see if she can actually make it count for Ndeje. Yeah, and it's good for Ndeje. She manages to score, and 12-17, not a good run from Nkumba. Ndeje have scored 4 unanswered points, and so the kind of form that you need if you're trying to seal a set.
Yeah, I was told you had put your bet on Ndeje. I don't know what's going to happen to you.
No. My bet was on Nkumba. Even last year, my bet was on Nkumba, and somehow Ndeje managed to beat them. So coming into, I think every team that Nkumba plays in Uganda, they are the better side, surely, and they will always be expected to win. If they don't, maybe if something happens, but you can see their defense. They are defending well, and Habiba attacks and is able to score, and that is 19-12 in favor of Nkumba, and Winnie does not seem to understand what's happening.
And when you look at Nkumba, as we said that earlier on, that these players have been together for some time. This is what always happens. They keep their players for a long time. Like you find that if they are doing a degree course, when they are done, they give them masters, so they keep them for a long time. So it's very difficult to compete against a team that has stayed together for a long time. So they know each other. They know what they have to do for each other. It's not like in Ndeje where players are coming in and leaving, to go into other clubs. So you find that Nkumba is trying to keep them together, and that's something that is helping them to have an advantage over other teams.
And it's a good blend because while some are students, they have a few experienced players. The Astrids, Grace, all these are players that have been around for a while. And that blend, you mix it with the younger players that are coming up, then they become hard or impossible to beat. So we wait and see, but they look like they will be taking this one. They are leading 20-13, and Ndeje are attacking into their own net at the moment, so to make it 21-13, and Ndeje look like they are taking this.
Ndeje has accepted. That's how far they can go. Those are the results they want. For now, they can't do much. They need just to accept.
The second ball is very far away from the setter, and it's always going to be hard for a team to score if the setter is not getting the good reception that they need to score the points. That's 14-21. Nkumba still in the lead, and we thank everyone for watching this live stream from wherever they are watching from. It could be in Kampala, it could be anywhere, because this is an international championship that brings together teams from across the region. We have teams from South Sudan, you have teams from Burundi, you have a team from Kenya that is going to play in the final, and Tanzania this year. So
I think the Rwandese who did not come for this tournament may be enjoying this, maybe watching this game live, and I think they are saying everywhere they are, we would have done better if we had traveled for the tournament, but maybe next time they will be here. Let's pray for them.
Yeah, of course, Rwanda was here for Zone 5 and lost to Uganda for the ladies, and now they did not manage to send any team to come from this championship, and they've been doing well across from the ladies to the men. They've all been doing well, but they are not here, and the tournament has to go on, and so far I think the fans will not have so many complaints. The teams could have been missed, but even those that came around from Burundi and Kenya especially, giving anyone a good run for their money. You have a team that came from Kenya with about 8 players, but is going to the finals, and they beat the hosts KVC in the semi-final.
When you look at the ladies' competition in this championship, it's more of own local teams playing against each other. Pool A was the most difficult pool, was the hardest pool, where you had KCCA, you had Ndeje, you had VVC in that pool, and these are all big teams, but VVC did not make it. Remember, VVC has won this championship before. The same applies to KCC. Before it won this championship 5 times in a row, and now they're not making it to the finals for about 4 to 5 years, which is very difficult for them. I think so many changes have come in. I think competition is stepping up, that these universities are doing good, and that's great. When you look at the other pool, look at Pool B. You had teams like Espo, you had teams like Nkumba, and in that pool you had KVC, which KVC, after so many years, they managed to get back to semi-finals, which is something so good, and I think they are taking the 4th position for the ladies. I think that is good. We missed only the international teams that were coming from Rwanda, which always give us a good game, because you need to know what your neighbors are also doing. How good are they? What has improved? So sometimes we don't only come to compete, but we also come to learn from this championship. And I think Nssf and KVC are doing a great job in improving the sport in this country, and improving volleyball in particular. They are doing so well, and I think KVC has maintained the standards, and I hope that they will do that for the coming competition. We have seen so many changes going on. Every now and then you come for this championship, there's something, it's growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think we need to appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah, you have to appreciate KVC for making sure this championship actually happens every other year, because there are so many that have not been able to live to celebrate their 1st or 2nd birthdays. But 19th edition, I think there's a lot to be proud of in terms of the organization. And Nkumba now need 1 point going back to the game. They need 1 point to win the 3rd set, to win the game 3-0, and to take the trophy home, and the $2,000 that is up for grabs for the teams that will be winning. So Dorina Kiteng is in the service box, the setter, and you think that it will be very hard or impossible for Ndeje to bounce back, and indeed it is. They cannot.
I think Nkumba takes it all 3-0 against hard luck for Ndeje, and congrats for Nkumba for having played a beautiful game. I think their strategy has worked. They just got a lot of homework to do, because we have league coming up again. So, and they have a game, I think, against Nkumba in the league. So it's not going to be very simple for them. They just got to do a lot of homework.
Yeah, there goes Nkumba. They are the champions of the 19th edition of the KVC International Tournament that is proudly sponsored by Nssf, and they've defeated Ndeje by 3-0, and we wait to see what exactly happens in the men's game. But at the moment, we have Nkumba as our first winners in the clubs category, and they will be taking home $2,000 from the organizers. And a big congratulations to them, and for Ndeje, commiserations, and we wait to see what happens next year. These are the teams that met in the finals last year, and Ndeje managed to win. Now Nkumba have gotten their revenge, and you have to give them all the credit. It's a team that has been achieving a lot throughout the year already, and now they add this international championship to their collection of trophies. And we wait now for the men's championship to see what exactly happens. But maybe you could tell us in a few words what you saw from this game, and what you expect to improve from Ndeje and what Nkumba can continue doing.
I think Ndeje has got a lot of homework to do. Ndeje has got to work on their reception formation. They have to receive better, and want to look at, when we look at Nkumba, they've got also to improve on their block formations. They are defending well. I think that's all they need to do.
Yeah, that's it from us, and we'll be coming back with the second game, which is the final of the men's game, to see what